Welcome to Business Rockstars. I'm Alex Worley, joined by Sarah Michelle Geller and Greg Fleischman. They are the co-founders of Foodsters. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So for those who are not familiar, if you could explain what Foodsters is.
Well, Foodsters is a clean comfort food company. We started out with baking. We offer a line of mixes that you can purchase anywhere in the country at physical retail or online. And then we also offer a subscription-based kit offering that you can get once a month in your house.
I'm a huge dessert lover, so love that it's a little less guilt or a little more guilt-free. Very cool. So my next question for you is, what would you say is your definition of being an entrepreneur? What does it ultimately take?
It takes everything that you have and then some more. You know, I thought that I knew what working hard was until I joined the startup world, and you realize it's harder than having newborn twins, that it is full-time, needs your attention, your brain doesn't shut off, but it's also the most incredibly rewarding when you actually realize you can hit those milestones and those accomplishments.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, how has Hollywood prepared you for this difficult world of startups?
It's interesting. There are some aspects of it where I think that Hollywood definitely has a help in preparing, and I think that mainly has to come with the amount of no's that we get in the rejection. I look at most people in their lives, and you graduate college and you look for a job, and maybe you don't get a few, and then you settle in a job, and then maybe 5 or 6 years later you switch. But for me, it's constant. It's an auditioning process. It's such a constant and very personal rejection that happens so often and on such a large scale that it makes it a little bit easier in terms of letting the no's in the business world roll off you a little bit and make you tougher, as opposed to really feeling it as a personal rejection. I always said that we know we have a great idea and we know we're going to kill it and we'll find the right people, and this one just wasn't it, as opposed to really internalizing that.
Yeah, there are a lot of mistakes and mini failures that happen in entrepreneurship, and I could imagine being an actress that would prepare you for that. You know, a common fear is of failure for entrepreneurs. Do you ever deal with that?
We have a very specific definition, and for us, fail is just the first attempt in learning. It's just the first time we tried something, and if that one didn't work, it's only a failure if we don't learn from it and improve upon what we initially set out to do.
And you can't be fearful of failure. And
wrong business if you are.
If you are, you have to change your perspective about what failure really is, and that's what Sarah Michelle talks about.
Yeah, so you guys have been at it for a couple years now. If you could go back to those first few months, so what advice would you give your early entrepreneurial self?
Oh, goodness.
Well, I think the big one would be stamina. So you're going to be putting in long hours, and there's going to be some sacrifice along the way. So if you could go back and talk to yourself, you would prepare
You'd say, work even harder.
You'd say, hey, look, there's going to be days like this where you want to quit. And you have to, if you knew that that was coming, then you would prepare better for it. And that could be all the things that you would do to decompress. And that could be exercising, hanging out with family, traveling. You need to find those things that will get you through those difficult moments and when being an entrepreneur. And if you're prepared for that, which most 90% of first-time entrepreneurs are not, it makes it so much easier and so much more joyful to be challenging status quo, which is what all entrepreneurs are ultimately doing.
Mm-hmm. And to really utilize the community, to look for people that are facing the same struggles or have experienced the same struggles and learn and grow from that and propel each other up.
Yeah, it's a team sport.
Yeah. If you could create a startup toolkit, what would be inside of it? It could be more tangible technology. It could be intangible, like a characteristic or personality trait that you need. So what would be inside?
Oh my God, that would be our next startup. We can't tell you that. Yeah, unless you sign the NDA first, we cannot answer that question.
We'll put it in a capsule. Sake. Maybe it's in there as one. The big one is, if we're not doing tangibles, would be you got to be visionary, you got to be strategic, you got to be creative, you got to be relentless. You have to have situational awareness and self-awareness. Put that in the box, and then you have to have that stamina to be able to work 80 hours a week. I think also stellar interpersonal skills seem to always be a prerequisite for successful entrepreneurs. You have to be able to communicate, sell your idea, get people to come over to your side, do stuff when they don't want to help you out. And I think also a nice, comfortable pair of shoes seem to always help.
That doesn't hurt.